Quincy Court. And under our new procedure, I'm going to hand the gavel over to Stephanie Hogue of the Zoning and Licensing Committee and trade places with her. So she can run that section of the meeting.
Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year. I'd like to start by reminding everyone that applicants come before us for our support because something in their application has triggered a zoning violation and they need relief from the Zoning Board of Appeal. If everybody could look at your agenda, the application is 3 to 5 Quincy Court. The expansion of the living space into the basement area triggers one of the problems, dwelling units and basement forbidden. The vertical addition triggers another violation, roof structure restrictions. And then the third is something that we see almost all the time when anything is being added to a building in the north end, which is the floor area ratio and the rear yard insufficient. And this is usually triggered because the buildings in the north end take up usually almost all the space on the plot of land, and so it's unavoidable that they're going to trigger these violations just because of our crowded neighborhood. Our procedure is that Mr. Toscano will have 5 minutes to present the application. We will proceed then first with questions to help you understand what the application is, so informational questions. I would usually ask for abutters first and then general questions. After everybody's clear about what the application involves, we'll move on to comments that people have. And again, I will ask for abutters first and then everyone else. So, take it away, Dan.
Thank you, Stephanie. Let me introduce myself. Daniel Toscano, attorney at law. My office is located at 15 Broad Street, 610, Boston, Mass. I'm actually here on behalf of William Ferrulo, attorney Ferrulo, who represents the owner of the property, the Traveloni family. Not able to be here today. They're also traveling. So I'm here on behalf of Bill Ferrulo, and wanted to be here as state representative John Rogers, who spent many years in the State House with, and also makes me a little nervous that I have to speak in front of him tonight. But in any event, I'll get through it. But today I'm seeking your support in regards to 3 to 5 Quincy Court. I think everybody may remember this project came before us probably about a year and a half ago. And now the new building has been sold, new owners wants to expand the living space of the first floor unit into the basement, adding approximately 400 square feet, and also adding the fourth floor living space, which creates about another 356, 360 square feet of space. Right now, the two buildings are identical. They're currently zoned for 3 2-bedroom residential units. So right now it's 12 bedrooms right now. So by adding this top floor, we are adding 2 bedrooms. The floor plan is identical. First unit and second unit, 2 bedrooms, and expands living space into the basement. The basement will be used solely for living space, not as a bedroom. Has 4 windows in the back, 3/4 windows in the front, and also second means of egress, and also a mechanical room that you'll be able to get through from Quincy Court, which has to be common access to that area for everyone. The second unit would be a 2-bedroom. It's just a straight through, remains the same 2-bedroom residential units, identical to both sides. And the third floor would be, and the new addition would be a 3-bedroom residential unit, probably about 1,000 square feet, I believe, maybe a little less, adding up. The difference between this plan and the plan that was before you before, as you can see, the setback is approximately 14 feet back. This would be facing Quincy Court, so these windows here would be facing the dog park, and this is the back of the property. The back of the property has some means of egress, second means of egress. This here would be the mechanicals. However, there is a plan to put the mechanicals down below, just so take away a little bit of the added height. Added is, right now, the building's at about 37 feet tall. Adding the addition, the calculation's about 45 feet in height. As Stephanie had mentioned, there is various violations that we have to seek relief from the zoning board of appeals. I don't believe that there is a zoning board of appeals date just yet. Floor area ratio, as Stephanie has mentioned, is one of the common zoning violations we see here in the neighborhood. Most of the buildings here are probably already in violation of the FAR. Current use right now is probably around 2.8. With the addition of going up and into the basement, brings it to about 3.5, excluding the common areas that some of you don't calculate. The rear yard insufficient in the multifamily residential sub-district. You have to have 20-foot set, actually in this area, 12-foot setback from the next property line. We're not making any changes. It's a pre-existing condition. The other is the roof structure that we see a lot. Because we're putting the new addition in the mechanicals of the roof, we're changing the structure of the roof. So there's a roof structure violation we seek relief from. In the basement forbidden is something that we usually don't see on refusal letter, especially when you're expanding some living space down into the basement. Usually if you're creating an additional unit, that would probably trigger it. However, the ISD and the plans examiner has been a little more, I guess, giving that violation out. They want to make sure that the living space down in the basement has plenty of ventilation, plenty of airflow, plenty of light. As you can see, there's full windows in the back here, and a little upside down. And there's 3/4 windows in the front, so there's plenty of light and airflow in this particular area that can be brought. So I don't think that would create a problem at the ZBA, but it is a violation that was cited, but I believe we addressed it. So with that said, we got 5 minutes and it should be pretty good.
You're just about there. Perfect, Dan.
With that said, I'll answer any questions.
Okay. Are there any questions from abutters?
So, yes, so I'm at 187 North. I just want to confirm the total number of bedrooms in
14.
In the proposed design.
In the
14.
proposed design, 14. Existing is 12.
Okay.
We can add 2 more, so 1 bedroom per unit to the addition.
Any other abutters have a question? Anyone in general have a
You have
question?
another
I do have another question. It's not necessarily about the design, but I just want to, we had gone through this process before last year, and actually probably a little bit over a year ago. And the situation was really quite different for us as neighbors in the building right next door. This time, as we go through the process, the person who purchased the property is actually another neighbor, or actually is responsible or very involved in running a business next to our building. So the situation feels a little bit different. So there's a little bit more comfort there from my perspective that this person.
I take no offense since I represent.
Okay.
you. Okay.
The other.
All right.
Thank you. But I think I just want to understand whether or not this individual is really the sole person who ultimately is responsible or has ownership of this investment, or if you can just fill us in a little bit more about how many people might be involved in this.
Unfortunately, I'm not the person that can probably properly answer that. Bill Faru, as their attorney, I can tell you, as you know, the family that owns Ricardo's Restaurant purchased the building from City Realty. So in terms of ownership shares and who actually owns it, if it's in a trust, if it's an LLC, I'm sorry, I can't answer that, but I can pass that on to Attorney Faru.
I think that would be something that would be helpful to understand.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
No.
Okay. Any other abutters? Okay, before I call on Dave, I'm going to say something I should have said before, which is when you have a question or a comment and you start to speak, just please identify yourself and the street you live on. We don't have to have your exact address. Question, Dave?
Yeah, Dave Kubiak, Cleveland Place. I keep hearing that there's been changes. I know that this association voted against the original proposal about a year ago, in part because the nearby residents were against it. They felt that the impact would be too great. Now we're hearing that's changed. What exactly did change?
significantly, the setback from the prior plan was 2 feet off the roof line, so from here. So this being Quincy Court, it was 2 feet from the roof line. Here it's set back 14 feet. So in terms of impacting the views of, I believe, 187 or lighter airflow, significantly been decreased. And this here, the condensers are going to be put down below. So in terms of and also the roof, obviously we're adding a little bit more living space on the roof. In the last plan here is approximately 350 square feet, really accommodating bedroom, small living space, and bathroom.
Any other questions?
Jason Lee of Front Street. How many total
Units still remain at 6 units total. Currently it's zoned right now for 6 units, 2 buildings, 3 2-bedrooms each. It's going to remain at 6. And unit 3, actually 5 and 6 will be duplex.
Other questions?
So the mansard part of that building, you said that is a bedroom, is that part of the apartment on the 4th floor?
Correct. The part of this unit here.
Okay, and will that extra 14 feet be deck space?
It will not, and that's one of the reasons why we're going to put the condensers here, and that will prevent ISD from allowing the roof deck, because it can't be a private roof deck, because the condensers have to be available on common area.
And that's important because I just looked at that building today, and there is like, the closest is like 5 feet from, I assume, the neighboring building, which would be your windows.
So I think the setback, looking at the notes that I have from Attorney Ferrullo, the setback from 14 feet looks like 20 to 26 feet from 187 North Street. It's set back 14 feet.
Anyone else have a
And
question?
and that's just further, if in the future you want to put a roof deck, it's going to trigger another violation, another roof structure, probably another roof structure violation. So you would have to go through the whole process.
Any more questions? Comments then? Would a butters care to speak first?
I'm Susan Barbieri Montgomery, and my husband and I own a unit in the neighboring building. And myself, some of you might remember me, I was here about a year ago with the fire plan, and certainly I'm sure you remember completely representing. And the drawings were done by the same architect. I'm sorry you weren't able to answer her question because Bill Ferrullo has been asked that question before and you never answered how many people in that LLC. But the son of someone who operates the business next door is represented as an agent of the LLC. I'm one of your neighbors. I've lived here in this building for 23 years. In fact, my husband and I are the longest occupants of this neighborhood. We live just like you. We know what it's like to live in this neighborhood. We love the neighborhood, but we know what it's like to live in a crowded neighborhood. We know already what it's like when you're going to get in and out of your building. Some people who live here, as opposed to being here only during the day, know what it's like. Every time you try and bring the groceries home, there is nowhere to park your car. Every time you bring the laundry home, every time you try and get in and out, every time you have people who are coming to visit you, it's already very dense. And our concern and our opposition, which is quite strong to this, we are very much opposed to the extension into the basement and the addition of a floor. We are not opposed to occupying the building, and your own existing drawings show that there were 10 bedrooms in the existing building, 3 units with 10 bedrooms, and we're not opposing that. It's the extension of living space into the basement and into the upper floor. Last year we were here, we talked to you about it, we explained our opposition, and this group voted against it, and ZBA also denied it. So what's the difference? Last year they wanted to add these two, add living in the basement and add living on the floor. That's still there. It's still going to be all rental units. It's not going to be owner occupied. It's they're still asking not only for that, but they're adding. So the prior one that was presented, and I'm sure if you think you'll remember this, Dan, the one that you represented last year had only 10 bedrooms. So this one has 14. So this is more bedrooms than the prior one had. And the bedrooms are, of course, much smaller. Last time there were 2 bedrooms in the basement. They were about roughly 9 by 12, and most of the bedrooms in the building were. Now they're less than 7 feet wide, some of them. This one has going from 10 bedrooms to 14, and there's also still these 2 rooms in the basement. On top of that, and a full bath. They're not labeled bedrooms. This setup, if you look at this one, it has. If you thought last year was likely to attract students and transients, this one's even more likely. It has even more of those factors. The ZBA denies this. They're almost done building out. They already have those 6 units going, and that part of the building can be occupied. So we're only talking about the expansion that's on here. This proposal will overburden property and overburden this part of the neighborhood. By adding that much more density, that much more living space, that much more issues with fire and safety, access, double parking, trying to find parking, foot traffic, dogs, cats. There are more barrels in the Quincy court, more trash at the curb, all the things you know. I mean, I really don't have to tell you that. I think that I need to also say, with respect to our particular unit. So we are the unit that's directly across from where this new floor will be built. Our bedroom is at the narrowest part of the alley, which is about 5 feet from the building. The roof is about level with my knee. I stand in my bedroom, so it's there. The fire escape that goes around our bedroom ends up being about 22 inches from this point. Okay, this is very close. So adding the upper floor will impact our unit directly. It will cut back on the light, the ventilation. It will cut back also on direct sunlight and our view, yes. And it'll be the added increase in noise. So that's definitely true. But I think for this group, it's much more important for you to think about the density and the impact on the neighborhood than to think about me. Okay? And I do drag in a lot of friends to say, oh, my friend Susan's moving to the view. That's not the point. The point is, what you've already looked at this plan. Some might say this one's worse than last year. Some might say not. But you looked at it, you voted against it, and you set that precedent. Now what happens if you don't do the same? You can send 2 messages. You can say, hey, we already told you. No, and you can vote against it. Or you can say, oh, gee, if you get someone who's connected to the neighborhood to be an agent, and if you do something to give her a little more view, oh, that's different. But whether I'm here the next time something comes up where it's one of you, that's going to be the precedent that you're going to be living with. So I'm not asking you to think about me so much. I'm asking you to think about how you're using, how zoning is being used, and what kind of precedent you're setting.
Are there any other abutters who would like to comment? Anyone in general want to comment?
Mary Holland, East India Road. For some reason, Airbnb pops into my mind, and I know you can't say, oh, you can't develop because of that, but it's just something I don't know if this would lend itself to that.
Anyone else? Bob, and then Sue.
My name is Bob Moody. I live on Commercial Street. Richie's a good friend of mine, okay? I've been to the meetings. I've been to the meetings with her. I don't know what she wants. He accommodated everything she was looking for, right? He wants to make that a family building. If she's objecting, if this goes down the drain again, he has no choice. You're talking Airbnb, It's done. He can legally do without the parapet up there. He took the roof off and put the air conditioners on the deck. There wasn't a deck. There was a door there. She thought it was gonna be a deck. There's no deck there. The air conditioners will be on that to accommodate her, all right? And there was no question. I don't know what she wants. I don't know what she's looking for. I mean, but we've been to 3 meetings already, and I personally feel that she'd rather have it empty. So it's your choice what you vote. It's just that I'm a little upset because I can't figure out what she wants. If she wants to leave it empty, that's fine. You want to leave it rat infested like 10 years like it's been, that's fine. All right? If you want to renovate it and do Airbnb, that's fine. He doesn't care, he wants families in there. That's why he's doing a 3-bedroom on the top floor. So it's your choice to vote. That's all I got to say.
I don't like being misrepresented. I have clearly said many times, I don't want to do it. I have clearly said many times, the work's already being done. There can be 6 units rented as soon as that work is done. He has not accommodated anything I have asked for, or my husband has asked for. I don't like being misrepresented.
Sue?
Sue Divinity, 105 Prince Street. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around why one property owner who is currently living here should be expected to suffer loss of property value, quality of life, light, all those things because another developer, regardless of whether they're a North-Ender or some LLC from Arizona, wants to build up higher for increased monetary value. We should not, this is like zoning relief. Why are we giving someone zoning relief? Why does he need zoning relief? Why can't he just rehab it the way it is?
Building has been vacant, as we know, for a number of years.
Why can't
Been
we just
grown
rehab it
in
the way it
and
is?
There's rats been in there, so he's gonna beautify the building, bring it up to safety code. His footprint's probably about 500 and, I don't know exactly, maybe mid-500 square feet. By adding some living space in, we're leaving it as 2 bedrooms, so 6 units, 2 bedrooms, 12 bedrooms. And what you're gonna get, in my experience, then you're gonna get students. Now, adding some living space in the basement creates it for maybe a young couple, young family. Adding some living space in the top unit, which you can, only another 300 and something square feet of space, and push back to accommodate any impacts. A nice 3-bedroom could have the family in there, and I think coming before the neighborhood council and the resident association, I mean, we all talk about families, but we come here and every time someone wants to do something, expand some living space, we get criticized. This expands some space. It's going from a 500 and something square foot residential unit to close to 1,000
But you
square
haven't
feet.
answered the question, why does he need zoning relief? What is the zoning relief he deserves?
Because we want to create some families in there, create some additional space for more folks to go in there, a better type of client, a better resident, a better tenant, more families. Yes, that's why he's looking for the relief.
Can someone answer that question? No, I don't think that's zoning relief. What is his hardship?
His
What
hardship,
is
the
his
units are too
hardship?
small.
That's why you get
The
zoning
units are
relief.
too small.
So true.
No. That is not, I mean, building a nicer building, that's great. He can build a Taj Mahal, but that is not zoning relief. What is his hardship?
His hardship, the units are too small, he wants to create some additional space. Because
What's
of
the
the
big
lot, it's
problem?
too small.
Buyer beware. You know, if he needs to
And
build
leave it,
a,
and see what happened the last time, and it was opposed, and I understand that, and that's okay. The building was vacant for many years. Last owner tried to put an addition on there, it was opposed, and now it's fine. And what happened? He had to sell the building, and that would probably happen, and may not, but likely happen, and so I think we're trying to do something that's a little bit better than leaving a vacant building.
so who is the LLC that owns this?
As I said earlier, I don't know that answer because I don't represent the family.
Right.
I'm here on behalf of Bill Ferraro, couldn't be here tonight.
Jason, you had your
I
hand
just
up.
wanted, not that I respect the abutters, I have two projects behind me, the old Del Russo Funeral Home, that is going from a two-story building to a four-story building. Should we, and I see the economics, and zoning relief is there also, that so someone could buy a property in this city, because we all know how expensive it is, and do with it and they have to be able to afford the property they're buying and also the refurbishment. Some of these buildings, including this one, which has been there for many, many years, empty, we don't know how much it costs as a committee. I mean, I wish the Trevelionis were here, and I'm not supporting them just because they're North Enders. And I know them, I just know that that family has been here, I mean, they've been here since Mother Anna's. Mother Anna's a great-grandmother, Felicia Russell. I know the family, I know that they're responsible, they're business owners, as they were said already. They own Ricardo's there for at least 20 years. So I'll give them a benefit of doubt because I do know them. And I know the quality of people they are. But I also want to say that we can't just judge that zoning relief is only for people that buy the building as is. Because if not, the Del Russos would only build a two-story building or refurbish an old building that was falling apart. The parking lot on North Margin Street and Interclark Street has just been sold. Did they leave it just a parking lot? Did they not build on that? We're going through that, and I've blocked my mother's windows. And I also disagree as much as I'm going through those two things, that just because one resident, and I respect your issues, because I would have issues as well if my neighbors were going out too, that we should vote no just because one resident raises issues. We have to look at it collectively as a neighborhood. And I just want to say that.
I just have a quick question. Cheryl Delbrecker, Commercial Work. Do you know whether or not the owners are planning to use this as Airbnb?
I do not know the answer to whether they're going to use it as Airbnb. I hope not.
But we don't know.
We don't know.
Because you don't have to live here.
Of course, we understand the problems that Airbnb that we're having here in the neighborhood. What I can tell you that there's legislation pending at the State House. Aaron Mikewitz has sponsored the bill that's probably going to be heard this year. Sal Martina has also had a committee meeting on this, Airbnb, to regulate Airbnbs. I was at a meeting with the Senate President, Stan Rosenberg, this week, and I asked him what his
Okay,
legislative
Dan, I'm
priorities
gonna
were.
ask you not to go into that because we're already
I think
over.
we're all there.
Let's stick to the
Have
bill.
you moved it?
You can't tell us, right,
Airbnb?
whether the owner plans to or not. So Sandra had a comment, and then Tom, and Jason will try to come back to you.
If I could just comment, I was at the ZLC meeting where Richie presented his plans to the building, and Victor, correct me if I'm wrong, was that question raised at the ZLC meeting?
I raised it.
You raised it, right?
About the Airbnb?
Yeah, and what did Richie
But I
say?
would like to comment on that as well.
Do you remember what he said?
He said that he would not be running it as an Airbnb and that the rents would be typical, like 1 year lease rents. The reason I raised the question was because of the size of the bedrooms. The issue with respect to FAR and its density and the impacts that this lady described about the additional number of residents is related to the number of bedrooms. And I look at the plans and I see that many of these bedrooms are less than 8 feet wide. Many of them are less than 7 feet wide. So that's why I question who's going to be in these units.
The law passes, when the law passes.
Okay,
then you
Sandra,
worry. Yeah, when
go
the
ahead.
law passes for Airbnb, the guy in Port Street, then these people are gonna have to worry about it, then they're gonna have to stop it. I had a tenant who did it, and it was a friend of mine, but 15 years I've had in the building. He started bringing people in the building, and if the family members didn't see it, I wouldn't have known that. And believe you me, he's got an eviction notice, because it's a family building, and we didn't want that in our building. And yet he was a family friend for 15 years. So you can't judge something that hasn't been in the law yet, because people are doing it all over. I know tons
That's
of
the
people are doing
problem.
it.
People are doing it all.
Yeah, so, but you
But
can't,
you
you can't fight
can't make an
him.
inference that
You
this
can't make
project
an
is
inference on
gonna do
him
it.
that he's
That's
gonna
not
do
fair.
it.
The question becomes, can you rent out these
You're
units?
gonna put a hotel on La Martin
Can
Street,
you
is
rent
that
out
okay?
units with tiny bedrooms, like, that'll be in this building, to people who are going to live there for a while, become part of the community? Or are they more apt to be rented for short-term use, whether it's students or it's corporate housing or it's Airbnb?
Tom, I think you had your
Yeah,
hand.
Tom Schiavone from 46 Snow Hill. It's been 19 years since my family was in the same situation that that lady, where physical proximity, for us it was 11 inches, not 22. And they wanted to go up and they wanted to expand, and we basically said, we want you to, but please don't add that extra story because you're 11 inches from us. We were unable to go the night that it came in front of NEWRA, and that was 19 years ago. And for the life of me then, and I still can't understand, when we are a residents association and one of the residents is really at close range, this isn't an anti-business. The lady is saying we want to develop the building. So I think we are a residents association. We have to be aware and sensitive to the needs of an abutter at such close range. And again, I'm getting post-traumatic stress because we went through the same thing.
Okay, we are already over. Does anyone have anything new to contribute?
Well, it's only new in the sense that it is something I've said on other issues, but that Mary McGee from Snow Hill Street, we really need to think about cause and effect. And it really doesn't make any difference who is the owner or whether they've changed hands. One thing that I think is important to know, it's represented well, these people who owned it before didn't get their variance, so they had to sell it. Well, yeah, they sold it for hundreds of thousands of dollars more than they bought it for. And guess what? Because they knew that if they brought in somebody who was a neighborhood person, they had a better shot of getting the variances, so it's worth it to pay more money. So all we are doing is we complain about driving up the prices here, young families can't buy, our family members can't afford anything, and this is why, because we keep bending the rules if we know the person. And we just really have to stop doing that. We're too dense. Every meeting, people have complaints about being too dense. Again, they are overbuilding on this lot. Nobody is complaining about fixing the place up. Fine, make it 2 nice little townhouses. But again, any of us could be in this circumstance. And if there's anyone here who is concerned about something that is going up next to them, that is increasing the density, then you need to really feel for this person and try to put yourself in their shoes.
Does anyone want to add anything additional that hasn't been covered?
I just think it's unfair that you people can come here and judge one person on a different thing and another person on another. I probably wasn't here when the North Market Street building was approved. You're allowing, you're talking about density, you're talking about putting more apartments in. You're allowing a contractor to have a 2-family house, whatever it was, to tear down a house and put a 5-story building for business purposes. I wasn't here the night of that meeting, but here you are putting these people through channels, you're killing these people for the same reason. They had density, you gave them five stories to put up. I don't understand it. Where is the difference? Where does this committee draw the lines? Who do you stick up for in this committee? I'm getting a little fed up with it. I've been here for 40 years at this committee. Now it's getting a little out of hand.
Can I ask?
Who do we stick up for?
I'm not sure what property she's talking
He's talking
about.
Endicott.
Endicott Street.
Endicott
The-
Street.
Del
Russo's
Russo's
was here,
Because
he
there's
allowed him
another
to build
building,
a
we're trying
5-story
to go up
building.
in a triangle, that's gonna be 5 stories.
And was
Are you
there,
gonna approve that too?
was there an abutter at the meeting?
I wasn't there. Whether there was an abutter or not, you're talking about density. You're talking about density, people in the neighborhood, traffic in the neighborhood. You're talking about all these things. So if you gave them the okay, what is the big problem? You either gonna stick to your guns on everything or just let everything go to pot.
And that building is gonna be even closer to the
Right, to
building on
people,
North
Right,
Washington
it's
Street.
gonna close up Antichrist, Thatcher Street, whatever the heck that
And
is.
it's not
It's-
because-
you know, come on.
Okay,
It's
I
not
don't
because we
think,
know the
I don't
people.
think we have time to rehash
Well, I just
that.
don't like
What was the
that
prior
accusation,
application?
because we know people,
I'm
we
not gonna
consider
be
them
there
different.
for
I voted for a lot of people in this, I
Right.
don't even know them.
Me
And
too.
I voted for Prue. Many people I don't know, I actually voted against people I know. So it's not who I know, it's the project. And I will say, I do know the people who own this, or the federally owned do, and I will say they're good people. But I said
Okay. Bob, do you have anything you want
I
to say?
just
to
have
that
two
that
things.
hasn't already been said?
That family is the abutters on the other side, right adjacent to it, okay? They own the building in front. I don't see any objections anywhere else about anything else. All I'm saying is, it's a family, I know what he wants to do, it's not gonna be an Airbnb, he wants to put families in there. I've grown up with that family, I know them. They're here, they live here, all right? They don't want Airbnb going in and out of that, I'll call it an alley, because nobody else calls, they call them courts now, okay? We called them alleys when we were kids, all right? That should be developed, he's got sprinkler systems put in, he's got fire alarm systems put in, he's got everything put in up to code. I don't know what the complaint is. They set it back for her to accommodate her. The sun comes from the east and the west. It doesn't go over her house, it goes the other way. It comes right across. There's no change in shadows there. So I don't know what they're looking for. She's the only one in the building that's objecting to it. Nobody else is objecting to it.
Yes, go ahead.
I just need to make a comment. So I'm Nikki Conti, I'm in the 187 North Street. The accommodations have been made for the full building. I just want to say, I just have to say, I don't want to make this personal for one of my neighbors, because I think we're all trying to be supportive, not only of the neighbors in the building, but of our community, okay? So yes, the Traveloni family has made some accommodations to set the space back on the top floor. That has been made for the whole building, not just to accommodate one neighbor. They're trying to do that. This modification and adding more people doesn't only impact Susan and her husband, it impacts everyone who has a home on that side. These are brick buildings, they're very close. So more people means more people coming in and out of that alley, right? And that means those voices, you got it, and the voices travel. So if you're sitting in your room, you're sitting in the living room, you hear people. I mean, it's not just one family. I think we're trying to be understanding, because everyone wants that developed. We really do. We just, I think, want it developed responsibly.
Okay.
Stephanie, if I just simply close, and I'm not simply closing.
Very
I know-
quickly, Dan,
Yeah,
because
so
we are already
existing
15,
building, as I
20
said,
minutes over.
in terms of density, we talked about density, what we're simply adding, I don't think anyone has concerns with, I don't believe the abutter has concerns with the basement, we are just talking about approximately 350 square feet, that's been set back approximately 14 feet from the roof line, so with that said, it's not gonna create a lot of density, it's already, thank you
Okay.
for being here.
Would a member care to make a motion to vote on this?
Motion to vote in support or favor of the proposal.
Would anyone like to second?